And what we're going to do initially is start proximally. So I'm going to keep Joe just in this neutral neck position. I'm not going to kind of really move him at this point yet, because I'm not sure how sensitive things are and where he is in there with this. And I'm going to basically take my fisted hand and I'm going to put it at the superior aspect of his scapula. What I want to really do proximally is create scapular depression. Okay, so the first place that I'm going to place tension through this median nerve is through the scapula. And I'm going to be able to accomplish that by kind of putting him in scapular depression. Now I could grab that shoulder and pull down, but that's a lot more work for me. So I just form a fist here, and basically I pull him into scapular depression, and then I lean on my fist. So that's kind of stuck there. Right? That becomes kind of my pivot point. As I'm moving his arm, then I'm going to move it around that fulcrum. Okay? So the scapular depression is the first thing I do. I've got his hand here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring his shoulder up into abduction. So I've got a scapular depression. Now I'm going to go into, I already have an external rotation, but now I'm going to go into abduction. And I'm going to use my knee here, my thigh here, kind of to assist me as I'm going through this. Okay? So scapular depression like this. All right? Notice I have Joe here kind of slightly abducted just so I can get my thigh in there. But then what I'm going to do is, as I bring him up into shoulder abduction, I'm going to actually go distal first. Okay? I just found, and again, there's lots of ways of doing this, I just found that this allows me to handle him much easier. Right? So I have him into finger extension. Make sure you capture his thumb. Right? Median nerve, remember, goes into the thumb. So make sure you don't forget the thumb. Sometimes we do this, we forget about the thumb. So capture the fingers, capture the thumb. I've got scapular depression. I've got wrist supination, forearm supination, wrist extension, and I've got finger extension. So I've got him kind of taken up. I've taken up the slack proximally. I've taken up the slack distally. Okay? Now I'm going to start to go into abduction. So I'm bringing him into shoulder abduction. And I'm going to go to just to about 90 degrees. Right? So as I'm doing this, there's a little bit of resistance because I'm holding his scapula down still. All right? So scapular depression, shoulder ER, and 90 degrees of abduction, forearm supination, okay? Thumb and finger extension and wrist extension is where I am. Okay? Then all I have to do is worry about this. All right? So see how I can eyeball that elbow and see what angle he's at? I'm supporting him really easily, so it's easy for me to do. And he says, nope, I don't feel anything. I say, okay, well, let me know when you feel the thing that brought you in. That tingling you were complaining of earlier, let me know when you begin to feel that again. And I slowly bring him into extension. So he says, oh, I feel it. Right there, I eyeball where he is at the elbow, and that becomes, you know, positive at 120 degrees. Okay, or whatever that is. Okay? So it's not like I'm here, and I'm trying to measure elbow, and I have him here, and I'm trying to measure the wrist angle and so forth, and I've got to worry about the shoulder. I've got it recruited proximally, I've got it recruited distally, I bring him up, and then I just kind of do, you know, extension, flexion, depending on, you know, what symptoms I'm getting. So I'll start off in flexion, and I gradually start to bring him out of it until I elicit his symptoms. Yes?
If a patient doesn't really explain their symptoms that they're feeling, then